Welcome to Bitstorm, a comedy game design podcast by two guys who know nothing about comedy nor game design. I'm Ben Slinger. With me, as always, is Trevor Scott.
Hello.
Let's get into it. Episode 120. That's 260s. You're welcome. Click Pitch. Tell us about it, Trevor.
Click Pitch is a game where we both have a random word generator in front of us. On the count of 3, 2, 1, click. We're going to click refresh. We're going to get our words. We're going to mash them together. We'll come up with a game design. And then we throw it away with the bathwater and get new words and start all over again.
Good job. 45-second intro. No one's going to skip that. 3, 2, 1, click. Clear.
10.
120 is 12 tens. That's horrible. What was that? Never mind. Clear 10. All right, maybe this is some sort of sports thing where you have to clear 10 of something, or like a Evel Knievel style. What do you call those guys? Daredevil.
Mm.
And you have to like clear 10 of something, and those somethings keep getting bigger, and you keep getting different things that you have to clear them on. Different vehicles. And maybe it's a narrative thing. So first, you're on like a tricycle, and you have to clear
10 toy trucks.
Yeah, 10 toy something. But like as this goes, you sort of get a sense of this kid's life and their goal, their dream to become an amazing, famous daredevil. And then, yeah, you grow up, and then you're on like your scooter, and you're trying to clear 10 kids.
Oh, God.
Maybe that comes a little bit later.
This could be a little bit scary.
Yeah, look, there'll be bruises.
Mm-hmm.
There may be broken limbs. I kind of like the idea that that's almost your scorecard, or at least like it keeps track of how many limbs you break and at what age. In pursuit of, you know, this grand daredevil adventure.
That is totally different to the idea that I originally started thinking of. But we'll continue.
Well, hold on to it. Yeah, hold on to it.
We'll keep going down this path for a little bit longer.
Yeah,
okay, question.
Yeah.
How old is the main character? So
well,
are
I
you
think
going
it's
through
like
the
it's
years?
throughout their life. Yeah.
So
you're following them through their life.
Starts off at 3 where they're jumping over things.
Exactly.
On a tricycle. And then after 7 jumps or so, like it moves to the next side.
Yeah, and so I think the challenge comes from the environment. So you've got to get up enough speed, but you might not be able to, you know, particularly in those early days, there's junk everywhere. So you're having to kind of dodge around things to get up enough speed to go over the jump.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's challenge from, I think then there's also like dialogue trees and stuff in between, maybe like sort of decision points that, you know, I don't think they have a major effect. And maybe they even originally have like a visual effect or something, but I kind of like the idea of this person really building up their persona over the years. So like their final, when you get and finally become sort of an actual stage performer, the name that's picked is based on, you know, choices you've made in the past or even failures that you've had. Like I really like the idea of a failure at like really building into the story and into your character. So, you know, at age 8, your character tries to use a skateboard to jump over 10 dumpsters and you fuck it up. And that's purely on the, like, I think the player could do a perfect run. It's obviously really difficult. But if you fuck up, then it's the player's fault. So, but, you know, all right. And you hit that and you, broke your ankle. And that sets you back a certain way, right, in time, because you've got to wait for it to heal before you can start doing more things. And so maybe it means you don't get in as much practice, or like you eventually, like if you fail a lot, you still might become a successful daredevil, but not until you're like 57.
So what I'm seeing is your progress will actually be halted and could actually slip back a little bit. Because effectively your daredevilness is being atrophied because you're having too much time doing nothing. Yeah,
I think each successful jump gives you a certain amount of points, and maybe you can even assign those points to different things, and they might just be pure gameplay things like acceleration, steering, airtime or something, how light you are. But then a failure, I like the idea that there's this constant timeline going on, so you know what age you're at any point. But it says, okay, it took you 2.5 months to recover, and these skill points have atrophied. And you don't get to choose that. That's like random.
And if it's bad enough, then you've got to actually go through like the physiotherapy minigame, and sometimes there's rehabilitation.
Yeah, well, that's it. They could be like rhythm games or something. And the better you do at them, the faster you recover, and the less you lose your skills. But I also like the idea then that as you're getting older, like your life is getting in the way too. So, and I don't know if this should be a mini game or not, but you have to make choices about what's your day job, and that's going to affect different things. Mm-hmm. Do you like get into a relationship with someone? Do you have kids? What do they feel about your dream? And again, this might depend on if you've done really well, because I think once you get to a certain point, you can obviously start earning money from your stunts. Mm-hmm. So if you've done a really good run up to like 27 years of age, you might start getting paid for it. But if you don't, then your choice of job is going to affect things in a big way, because it's like, how much time do you have to practice? Is the job physical that might lead to, better skills? But until you've actually achieved enough to like make some money as a daredevil, it's going to play into it, right? Yeah, I really like it. And it's basically a roguelike in a way. I think that you want to just try do a run, and maybe you can bring in roguelike elements of each run, like unlocks some new. Maybe it's just even new choices, like at each life stage. Mm-hmm. It unlocks a new job type that you can take. It unlocks a new option for how you deal with school or something, or relationships or whatever.
Okay.
I realize I've done most of the talking on this, but I'm actually really excited about this idea and where it went.
Okay, so the idea I've been continually mulling over in my head is...
While not listening to me ramble on. Yep, okay.
The word 10 brought to mind an Agatha Christie story.
Okay.
The story is, and then there were none.
Okay.
It used to be called 10 Little Indians, but of course that's a little bit on the nose, so they changed the name of the story after a while to And Then There Were None. And basically
Is the story itself still completely racist?
I'm taking the idea of there's a dinner party, 10 people are there, one of them's the murderer, except in this game, instead of you trying to find the murderer, you are the murderer. So you've got to actually plan out how you can take out all these other people in the best way that you sort of can and get off clear.
So in the original story, it's literally there's a murderer killing everyone?
Yes.
Like knocking them off one by one?
Yes.
Okay.
So the idea of it being like I'm thinking of, I started thinking, could this actually be one of those asymmetrical multiplayer games in which...
Ooh, like a bit of a Spy Party-esque.
You as the host, you design the place that this is going to be in. You can build up your level using some prefab tools and that sort of stuff and connect them together. Mm-hmm. And then multiplayer people come in and you ingratiate yourself with
everyone's a player.
So everyone's a player.
But is only one of them the murderer?
Only one of them is the murderer.
Okay. So it's a little bit like that game, was it The Boat? Built on top of, I think, the Half-Life engine? No, that was a bit different. I think in that the ship, yeah. I think in that one, everyone had a target, right? Yeah, okay.
In this, I see it as you've got basically everyone else who's there trying to work out who is the murderer.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that adds a bit. Because I was thinking, what do the people who aren't the murderer have to do then? Yeah. Because just sort of standing around play acting is not going to
it's not going to do anything. I think each person has some things that they want to do in this place. Like one person's a thief, so they're looking for a safe that they need to get stuff out of.
So everyone has their own reason to kind of be
their own reason to be there and sneaking around. And the idea being that you don't know, like. I like the idea that everyone's sort of been given a note by someone saying, you've been invited to this, and no one knows who the actual host is.
So I like the idea because I was just thinking, okay, because the benefit of that is if you're trying to figure out who the murderer is and you get points for basically, accusing the murder correctly or something, and obviously if you get it wrong, you get kicked out of the game or whatever, or lose a bunch of points. Yep. Then that's really interesting because obviously you might find out who the murderer is moments before they murder you. Or you likely will.
Yep.
But of course, then you can't tell anybody. I was thinking about the metagame then, though, of, what if you talking to your friend over Discord and you say, so-and-so just murdered me. So what if it literally randomly generates the names and appearances of all the other players per player. So I might get killed by, Dig Dug 72.
Yep.
And we're playing together, and I say to you, "Oh shit, the murderer is Dig Dug 72," and you're like, "I don't have Dig Dug 72 in my game," and I'm like, "Well, it was the tall guy with the black hair wearing the pink suit," and you're like, "There's nobody. No, I don't know who that is." Like, it's perfect, and then nobody can cheat.
What I'm sort of seeing is, especially with having all the people have their own sort of things that they want to sort of, that they have to sort of achieve.
They have to achieve,
and just different MacGuffins for each sort of character. Like, I almost like the idea that a person has the objective of keep this one person alive,
right?
And then that person has the objective of put yourself in danger into this thing to get this person's attraction and all this sort of stuff. So it's sort of like,
right, yeah, you kind of play them off, play the different
everyone off
each other. So is the main goal to find the murderer and before they can murder too many people, and then these other things are just bonuses, or is it literally just like everyone knows there's one murderer, but you're going to get the most points if you solve your own thing, and if you happen to find out who the murderer is, you can like knock them off or whatever, like you can get them out of the game.
Yeah, or more likely, I think it's more you're in it for yourself and to try and do whatever you need to do to get the most amount of points for yourself.
Oh, I wonder if it'd be interesting if you had to capture some evidence somehow of the murderer.
Yep.
Before you could do any sort of accusation.
I mean, I'm just imagining the sort of secret passages and stuff that, I'd like the people to be putting in so that,
Well, if it was very much on a prefab basis, you could have that as part of the kind of, the different prefab blocks.
Yeah, you go into a
like,
room.
Well, if you connect this one to this one, then there's always going to be a secret passage from here, but it might randomly lead to, again, depending on which other prefab blocks they stick together, it could go in different directions or something. And the game could kind of figure that stuff out based on the context of the blocks around it. Yeah,
I like the idea of, there being a candelabra that you can sort of pull and it, does the switch around fireplace sort of thing.
Oh yeah, totally.
Getting those sort of things actually happening, I could imagine it'd be so much fun. Like you being the murderer, you put in place early on that there's a cadaver that you've got that you can actually kill like your twin brother, and show that, oh my god, this person got burnt to a crisp and all this sort of stuff, and then you're literally going through the rest of the game, taking everyone else out, yet they don't ever suspect it was you, and just...
Well, I like the idea as well that in that sort of Agatha Christie style, that every time a body's found, everyone gets pulled back to like the sitting room, everyone who's still alive or known to be alive, and I don't know if you have to do anything there or if there's just a little like such and such died and what's going on, and you can sort of, you have to interact with some other people in certain ways, or you can then like watch, okay, what direction is that person going to go in as they leave, so that you're not just all off doing your own thing. It's like, oh, another person's dead. Okay, we've got this kind of little fade to black and everyone finds themselves back in the sitting room as, bloody Detective Poirot lookalike or whatever questions people.
I like the idea that there's basically each round is like 5 minutes. So sometime in this next 5 minutes, someone else is going to die. So everyone goes, okay, we're all going to stick together, all going to stick together, all going to stick together. And then,
the lights go out.
Well, I think what could have happened in the previous 5 minutes is someone got poisoned.
Right.
So now,
okay. You can have things that like cross over into, So I think, is it a maximum of 5 minutes then? Is it if the murderer goes longer than 5 minutes without killing anybody, something happens, or?
They're penalised in some way.
Yeah, okay.
Because you got to make it.
Of course, you don't want to go on forever.
No.
Yeah, that's interesting. And then I think, because it could be an interesting trade-off then for the non-murderers. They've got their own tasks to go about, but if they suspect someone is the murderer, they might have to decide, is it more worth my time trying to gather some evidence if I think that I'm correct about this? And it could be around the secret, like, oh, I know that there's a secret passage through here, so if I can look through this grate while they're in there and catch them murdering someone, then I've got my evidence and I'll win the game, basically. But if I'm wrong about this, I might not have a chance to do my task and I'm going to not get any points.
Yeah. What I'm liking is you could actually start leaving some clues that point to a certain person that you're trying to frame into basically having done it. You could basically get one of the other guests to actually murder them. Like that, they feel so threatened that they end up doing the job for you.
Well, and that's another thing that the sitting room scene could do is it could state some facts about the evidence that was found on the scene. Without people having to sort of necessarily figure that out themselves. It could be like, okay, so-and-so is murdered and like we found a size 10 footprint, in the blood or whatever, or like we found a blonde hair or something, and that could play into, what all the other characters look like who are there. And now, whether they're always true or not, like, who knows? And again, you might be able to plant things to put things off the scent, but, then that's got to be fairly difficult to do. And, yeah, there's some really interesting interplays you could have there, though, between those sort of different mechanics.
Yeah, I'm liking the idea of setting traps. Like, someone goes to open the sitting room and there's a shotgun that that gets let off or something like that.
This is almost like a multiplayer Hitman where everyone's Hitman.
Yeah.
Kind of. I mean, like only one person is supposed to be killing someone, but just in the way that you can interact with things and that there are all these sort of different interlocking systems.
Yeah. I mean, it makes me wonder whether you can actually do it with some very basic, AI as a first version that, you're trying to set up this thing and then the AI goes about trying to do some of the jobs. So that you got a single player mode as well, like a campaign sort of thing.
Yeah, perhaps. Yeah. Yeah,
that's definitely to see how it plays out, because I mean you could spend hours making these map sort of things only to give it a go.
Yeah, that's true. I think they'd have to be like fairly basic map building in that you're not like full on laying out different secret passages and stuff. It's really just locking different rooms together in different configurations or something.
Or what you can actually do is you create a map, i.e. like Super Mario Maker,
like a top down. Oh, okay.
And then, so you're not always going to be the murderer, but you've created a map that you think is actually pretty cool and has some places for traps to be set.
And then you have to
one person gets brought in, basically they've got a couple of minutes to set up some basic traps and then plan out, the first couple of minutes or first couple of rounds of murdering. And then everyone else, they sort of get to choose their character during this stage.
Right.
So I think the murderer during the character creation stage doesn't get to select a character. They just get
randomly generated one, but they get to plan out of it. Yeah, that's kind of cool. Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, I like that a lot.
So we just managed to do 20 minutes on one prompt. Shall we try for a third game of 10 clear? See if we can get through the whole episode on just 10 clear. I could come up with some more.
No.
I was thinking like a military thing, like clear, like the room's clear, like a SWAT thing maybe.
SWAT 5.
Well, I don't mean like necessarily the like game SWAT, but just like, people when they go into a room or police officers or whatever. Clear, like the room's clear.
3 to 1 click.
Fine. That would have been such a good gimmick for the episode. Switch.
Grey.
So this is the Super Nintendo branded Switch.
You went in a totally different direction to where I went.
The NES branded Switch that they're going to bring out and make $1 million and then say that they ran out. Oops.
They've already done a SNES branded 3DS. So
they'll do the Switch for sure. And it'll be grey. That's what. Anyway, that's not a game though. That's just a prediction.
Yes. So where I was taking it is in the technically, I'd say almost the conspiracy theory sort of circles. Greys,
which you frequent.
Yes, greys are what they quite often call the
specific type of
Roswell
large
aliens.
Aliens,
yep.
Yes.
So I like the idea that your character is a grey that was switched into a human host, basically disguised in government or something like that, and now you've just been recalled by your superiors because your mission was actually a failure.
So can it be instead of like that you're switched into a human host, can it just be that they switched you at birth with a human baby and you're just kind of they just say that you've got like this strange disease that makes your skin really grey and your head really big? Scott, sorry, I've got like cranial desaturated whatever, a feces. I don't know medical terms, but, something like that. But anyway, your point stands that you've grown up as a human.
And
so you're basically like a grey sleeper agent.
Yep.
And now you're living in this world and you get a message
saying that your mission is a failure. You need to come home within 24 hours. Your hologrammatic image is actually going to run out.
Oh, so you still go, I seriously want him to just look like a grey in human clothes, and everyone's just like, yeah.
Hey, Stephen.
That's Frank. Yeah, that's Stephen. He's got craniodesaturated feces. But he's a good guy. He's a bang on with those numbers in the accounting department.
And tell you what, get him drunk. He can like telekinetically make you a drink.
Yeah, I was about to say. Yeah, you get him drunk, he can fucking lift things with his mind. I swear. I mean, yes, I was fucking 10 in the bag as well, but he did it. I saw it happen.
Okay, so yeah, I am kind of liking this, that everyone knows that he's an alien, and that's why he's failed, and that's why he's being recalled. But everyone else is
no, I think they think he's human with a disease. It could be a bit more subtle. Like we could do the design a little bit more subtle than, or maybe maybe he's a hybrid or something. But it was the best the Greys could do.
Okay, but he's got pure black eyes.
Aspects of it. He's got pure black eyes. His skin is a bit desaturated, and he does have a slightly disproportionately large head. But it's not
bald.
and he's bald. But it's not like super. He's stumpy with a huge grey. It's not like fucking Roger from American Dad.
And it's not Paul from the movie.
Although he gets away with it all the time. People think he's human. It's not what? Sorry,
Paul from the movie Paul.
Yeah.
I watched that movie the other day. It's actually really quite good.
I did too. It's on Netflix or Stan or something at the moment.
Yeah, that's why I watched it. Because it came up in my feed.
We are being controlled by media.
Without a doubt.
Yeah, so okay, so the mission has failed. What was the mission? Just to infiltrate?
Just to infiltrate and not raise any suspicion.
Well, I think he's succeeded. Mostly. I wonder if the reason he's failed is because he's getting too close to his human, hosts, as it were. Not in that way, but like his parents and family.
Yep.
Maybe he's got a wife or a husband. Like maybe he's really assimilated into, human culture. And the game's very much about now he actually doesn't want to leave. Like he likes being a human.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to destroy all humans anymore. Another game that started great. I
haven't thought about that game for so long.
It was a good game. Didn't have a lot of depth, but it was. I like the style. So what are we thinking from gameplay wise?
Because it's narrative, I'm sort of pointing more towards like the point and click adventure sort of thing.
Yeah, I was almost thinking a bit of a like Life is Strange.
Yeah,
vibe.
Life is Strange or a Telltale sort of.
Yeah.
Lighter version of
lighter adventure fare. Yeah, not like deep on the puzzles, but you have to generally figure out where to go next, and you get exposition and story and character development as you play.
Yeah, I like the idea of there being a few different choices as you go, a la your Telltale games of, do you tell your boss that you're not actually going to be able to come to work tomorrow because, you're moving away, or do you come straight out and say, yeah, so it turns out that I'm an alien.
Turns out I'm an alien. I guess, is there like a branching storyline where you can go and meet your actual biological family?
Your birth mother.
Yeah. Your birth blob. They don't actually like reproduce the same way we do. They all come out of a single amorphous blob per
In fact,
region.
Their whole society has got like only the one gender.
The one gender. Yeah. Yeah, they basically all jizz in a big pile, and then more greys kind of emerge.
See your single parent and then go, "Hi, mum, dad."
Hi, mum, dad, jizz pile.
Oh, God.
It does become sentient, so it does just slightly sentient. So it's kind of got some maternal, paternal instinct. This pile of alien grey jizz. But anyway, let's stop saying jizz and think about. So where could this end up? I guess there's one of two options. Like you go back to your biological family and continue to plot to destroy humans and their civilization, or you become president and...
I think this is sort of like you being recalled is almost like what Rumspringa is to like the Amish people, that you're getting called back to like experience what life is really like for your kind. And then,
I thought you were going to say that the infiltration was like Rumspringa. And now it's like, okay, but now you got to come back to the colony and do your duty.
Yeah, that could be
as
it.
a grey.
That could be it.
So, did Stephen know that he was a grey this whole time?
I think no.
Yeah, I think that makes it a bit more interesting, actually. Like, he's finding out that he's this sleeper agent. Or he wasn't meant to be a sleeper agent. It turns like he was meant to be just an agent.
Yep.
But for whatever reason, like the previous communications that throughout the 33 years of his life prior to this were supposed to be briefing him and telling him about his history and what he's supposed to be doing here didn't get to him.
Yeah. So he's been sort of indoctrinated into human society.
Yeah, he just thinks he's a human. But now they finally get a message through to him, and they don't know that he hasn't been getting them either, which maybe is part of the reason he's being recalled, because he hasn't done any of his fucking missions.
He's got 36 he's 36 years late on like all these reports.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like with what's his alien name? Stofan.
All I'm getting in my head is the bloody alien from Community, Glip Glorp.
His alien name is Steven with a PH, and they're like, Steven Stoven, you've not put in your reports for the last time. We need those TPS reports, total planetary suckiness reports.
God.
You're being recalled. Your mission is over. You failed. And Steven's just like, what fucking mission? Who are you? And that's where it all begins.
Yep. Okay. So I think what happens at the start is someone from head office gets beamed down to the planet and wakes you up in the middle of the night.
Yep. And they're just like, why haven't you been answering our communiques?
Yep.
We've sent you 11,000 faxes.
What
it's like, well, there's your problem.
What I kind of love is the fact that what they forgot to actually do was actually switch on like the faster than light
receiver in his
faster than light receiver. So in other words, all these messages have been going at light speed, and they're not even going to arrive here until like
1,000 years or something.
Yeah. So I kind of like the idea that that's what you sort of work out throughout the game. That know there was no way that Stephen could have ever got those messages because they fucked up.
Yeah, for sure.
And he's built a life here now. He's happy to stay here, but of course he doesn't want his new found planet to be exploded either.
Oh, what could really tug at the heartstrings? Maybe his wife's pregnant, and he finds out that like it's not actually going to be a viable child or something because like grey and human hybrid DNA doesn't mix properly without
outside of the womb.
Or just without like some genetic engineering, the child's just not going to live past 3 months old or something. And so that could be a real pressure then for him to actually like take his family. They say they'll save his child if he leaves his family, kind of thing. Like once the child's born, he has to take the child and come back to the Grace if he wants the child to survive. Oh yeah, I took it there. Now you're crying. Yeah, but that could be interesting. That could be a really interesting, like moral dilemma though there that really, gives you something to think about as a player. What would Steven do?
Still can't believe that's the name that you went with.
Stephen with a PH.
Yeah, I know.
I can't stop thinking about that. There's that meme with the dog with its like underbite. Have you seen that? Saying Stephen.
No. I haven't seen it.
I'll send it to you later.
Okay.
All right. 3, 2, 1, click.
Defeat.
Circle. I just realised I'm on very common, but that's fine. It's been working out.
Okay. All I've got in my head is basically a war simulator built on the rules of tic-tac-toe.
Okay. So anytime you get like 3 tanks in a row, you win.
Well, I think it's sort of like think of it like a Battlefield-esque game.
Okay.
Where basically you got this huge 3x3 grid. And what you've got is you got capture points dotted over the map.
Yep.
And what you and your team are trying to do is capture points that make three across, or three down, three diagonal, however you do. But while you're doing that, you're also trying to stop the other team from getting three in a row. So the whole thing is that, yes, the win condition is that you've captured 3 points in a place, but on your 50 team, 50 on one side, 50 on the other, or however many we're going to do, you've got battles happening all over the place. But the whole idea is that you've got to try and capture.
Right. So it's more just about the overall
win
goal.
Condition.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's not the whole game that's tic-tac-toe, because that would be kind of boring. I'm just thinking that the way to win in this is your battlefield has to be the rules of engagement are based off of tic-tac-toe.
I love the idea that just both sides agree. Yeah, okay, that could be really interesting, because then you've kind of got this meta strategy of like, oh shit, they've taken the center. We need to actually just hold off, see what they take next, and then just block, so that we at least get a stalemate.
Oh, but you can take it back. You don't.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, but if they've like got this sort of momentum, then you don't want to let them like rush ahead and manage to get 3. So you need to. It's like shit. Get all our troops to, C1, section C1, because they've taken B2 and A3, and we can't let them take C1 or we're fucked.
What I was actually thinking about was what are the sort of like uniforms that actually that each of the team are sort of wearing. I think let's. I do like the idea just in general of the tic-tac-toe win condition, but because this is a comedy show. Yep.
If we just make it literally like, and you all have tanks and guns, it's boring as shit. So let's come up with what the units might be. Like, what's this war about? What are the units that you get? What makes this interesting other than the tic-tac-toe win condition? Yeah. And do we somehow, like, are we trying to justify why that win condition is in place?
Okay, so I'm seeing that each team has a commander.
Okay. They did that in some of the battlefields, didn't they?
Yeah. So basically, you can't split your team. This is all about being a team game. You've basically got a set of defenders,
okay,
that you can use, and then you've got an offensive team. So at any one time, you can be attacking 2 different places at once. All you can do is deploy your people into a certain section.
Okay.
So your commander sort of person. Is this
not just segments of a single map? Are these each separate maps that they can't travel between?
Yeah, I think it's basically you. If your commander sends you to another place as part of this whole thing, you're stuck within this sort of barriered off area.
Okay. What have you? So do you just get like teleported out mid battle if they decide to redeploy you?
Next time you die, you will respawn in this new section, or you can agree to the new condition and head to a
extraction point or something. Yeah.
I really like the idea of a jump pad.
Is this? I like the idea of jump pad or like a big cannon, and it literally blasts you up into the sky, and you see the whole map and see in real time, and then you come down in the right quadrant, or not quadrant, non-trint.
Yeah, I like the idea of if that it's X and circle or cross and circle. When a team wins the capture point by doing whatever they have to do to win it, I like the idea of like this big announcement that goes over of circle gets the square or something like that. sort of like in I'm seeing it kind of like a Fortnite-ish, sort of over the topness. I definitely think that you need to have X number of people sitting in certain certain positions all over the battlefield to actually, flick a switch all at the same time to actually be able to flick the final switch. So you've all got to work together as a team sort of thing. Right.
Sounds really difficult. But I do like the general idea.
So how would you do it different?
Is this like... No, I'm just trying to sort of think of the general theme and stuff. Is this like future war then we're sort of talking? If you've got these big cannons and barriers and...
Yeah, I'm sort of thinking... Stuff. I mean, the areas are probably about each of the squares are probably about 1 kilometre by 1 kilometre.
Right. Is this all a big game that like super powerful aliens are playing and pitting us against each other?
Yeah, I'm thinking it's kind of like
this is literally the way giant aliens play tic-tac-toe.
The commanders are actually aliens.
Yeah, exactly. It's like the end of Men in Black. It zooms out when you win a game and it shows that you're this like giant alien looming over the whole battlefield and pointing where to go.
Oh, that could actually be kind of cool if you're on the battlefield and you just look across and you see like this massive alien on one side and this massive alien on the other side.
Oh, yeah, that would be cool.
And you can sort of see what they're doing at any one time. Like if you look up, you can actually see, oh, look, they're using this pad to basically choose the
right.
Where the next...
Does that... Well, you don't want to be able to see what the enemies... Where they're sending their troops, though.
No, not necessarily, but...
But you just... Maybe you can see that they have pressed something. You can't see what they've pressed, but it's like, oh, shit, like... Big alien number 1 is moving. They're obviously redeploying somewhere.
So I like the idea that each group has like a set of moves. Like it's sort of like a turn-based of it's your turn to attack. Okay, here's where you're going to attack.
Okay, you only get to redeploy. Yeah. Is it okay? So is it that you only get to? Because I'm trying to think if you're literally being able to sort of attack in multiple places here. Is it that you get another turn once you've taken once each of you have taken a square or something, or after a certain amount of time after you take your first square? Like maybe once you take a square, you've got like 5 minutes, and then you get the opportunity to redeploy. Okay. So you're basically having to either defend it or at least you can't redeploy to like an unoccupied square or something.
Okay, so what if this was 9 battles then?
Okay.
So it's less than 9 battles. So it's not necessarily once an area has been won, they can't actually go back there. What you've got is you've still got your 50 versus 50, and the battle gets held out in a square of the commander's choosing. Then what they sort of say in that square for this battle, okay, you go off, this team go over here, this team go over here, and you're sort of working out, what the best sort of strategy from a coaching point of view would be. But whoever wins the battle,
gets the square.
Gets the square.
Well, maybe it's about the strategy of while you're in a square, maybe you have to do something to be able to move to the next square, and you can only move to adjacent squares.
Okay.
And so if you win the battle, you basically get to choose where the next battle's held. And so, but maybe you have to have achieved certain goals to like have unlocked the gate to, the west quadrant from here because I took, the bottom middle and I want to go left. I want to take the west quadrant. Then you not only do you have to have taken out the other team, but you have to have opened that gate in that time or something. And that allows you to move into that next one. And then you have to battle there with like, now the same team is there, but if they win, they, and you take whatever square you win on. But it just adds some strategy around, okay, where are we going next? Like we've got an extra goal this battle because our commander says, and look, maybe the troops don't even know where on the what quadrant they're in. So they have to trust the commander. The commander's the only one who can say, look, I need you to take the west gate. And you don't know if you're, top right, middle, bottom middle, you don't know where you are as a player.
Yep.
As a soldier.
All you can do is just listen to what the commander's sort of trying to put out out in place.
Yeah, and they basically just ping around and...
So I'm thinking what you can actually have is like each person is sort of put into a group of people. So that
like
you've got little squads happening within each team. The squad leader can request for certain resources from the commander. So the commander's sort of able to set got a resources out to different people.
Like drops they can put down, yeah.
They can sort of see what's happening in the battle from above and, sort of give extra boosts to different people. But obviously, if they see, okay, it looks to be 5 people coming up. Okay, I'll give a boost to this squad. All of a sudden, this squad gets powered up. They can sort of, defend a little bit more with a little bit of extra power. Their weapons get a little bit faster and all that sort of stuff.
But then the enemy commander might say, oh shit, like, I'm not going to win this battle. I'm going to have to use one of my own boosts to at least even up the odds or something.
Or boost out the 5 people who are sneaking behind and taking out all these other people. I like the idea that, there's sort of like a fog of war sort of thing. But you can sort of...
Right, you can see basically what... You've got a view of what your people can see. Yeah, that's cool.
So you can have scouts that actually go out and basically say...
Well, and I like the idea that there could be a lot of quite powerful things you could drop where you could like teleport people across the battlefield, but you can't actually literally just move them. You have to give them a drop, which is a teleporter, and like ping where you want them to drop, and it's up to them to kind of aim it. And
so I like the idea that there's a scout that you can sort of get up. They go up a lookout tower and they can sort of ping where they need to teleport to, and the commander can sort of say no, a little bit more left. Yep, go there.
Yeah, something like that. Or the commander just says, look, I'm dropping a teleporter. Here's the ping that I want you to go to. And they might need to get up to high ground to be able to see where it actually shows up on the map kind of thing. Yep. And then maybe they need line of sight to set up their teleporter and say, all right, I'm going to travel, across, what might be a fairly large map, but it's going to then give the opportunity to, like you said, sneak up on and provide backup against a powered up squad.
Yeah.
In a different section.
I kind of like the idea of the commander's view being like a typical World of Warcraft that has a fog of war for what people can't see. So you can only see what's happening on the map as to what your people are actually physically able to see.
Yeah, for sure.
But you just get an overview of what everyone can see.
You know that you can. I think you can see the topology. Because the area, like you've got information about the area, but you can't see any enemy units and stuff.
Yeah, you can only see enemy units appear if someone physically sees them in the game.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm seeing the uniforms as like one side has like this big blue cross across their chest, and the other team having a big red circle. Chest and back, so you can basically see the colours and of course, the fact that they're tic-tac-toe.
I just thought of something ridiculous. I like the idea that, yes, they have big crosses or big X's and big O's on them, but they're designed to be seen from above. So, like, the soldiers on the O side are basically wearing kind of like a hoop skirt thing that hangs around them, and the people on the cross side just have like these sort of cross beams coming out from their waists. They're both really just awkward uniforms that limit mobility, but like you can see them from space.
Oh God, that's insane. I'm starting to think that 50 may be a bit too much.
Yeah, probably. Like that's full on battle royale, so I think it's more of a, like 16 on 16 or something.
Yeah, 16 on 16 and maybe 500 meters by 500 meters. So there's...
Yeah, particularly if you're fighting a lot of different battles.
Yeah.
It'd almost be like each one is a little bit of a skirmish. You still have some ground you need to cover each time. But, you wouldn't really want it to last more than, 8 to 10 minutes per square. Because otherwise the game's going to go forever.
Yeah. And, of course, whoever wins the battle is going to get the square. So it's not about...
Yeah. Well, so you're never going to... It's not often you're going to play 9 squares.
And it's not often that you're going to actually play the full 10 minutes. Maybe you've...
Well, yeah, of course.
You've managed to get your objectives done really, really quickly because, you happen to have a really good commander who planned things out really, really well.
Oh, and I like the idea that if you get a gate open, maybe you get a bonus. I mean, that might snowball things a bit and give you too much of an advantage for going for that first, but I like the idea of like a vehicle comes through the gate that you can then use to basically finish off that round.
What I kind of like is that the vehicle itself is controlled by the commander.
Oh, God. Yeah, okay. That'd be cool. The commander gets to come down and take control and just blast the shit out of the other team because then just finish them off. The other commander, because they've saved up their boosts, could like turn it around in the last minute and like boost all their squads, and that might give them enough to still turn things around and win the square.
So I'm thinking that the truck itself is driven by the commander, not physically as in, they're actually using the controller and all that sort of stuff to do it. I'm thinking they're sort of clicking here and clicking there, and it's sort of just...
Oh, really? I was thinking physically. Like that literally it gives them the opportunity to get down. To actually get down and dirty and play as a thing. I also like the idea that there are different commanders you can choose from, and each of them has a different type of vehicle. So one might like have a flying vehicle. One might have sort of a more tank-like vehicle. One might have a fast kind of motorcycle-ish vehicle that drops mines or something,
Yep.
But basically, yeah, it brings this challenging, powerful vehicle into the game. But yeah, I think gives the opportunity to still, like, if you take that out as the opposing team, I don't know if you get extra points because you're just trying to win the square, but I think maybe you automatically win the square. Because the commander has to forfeit or something because his mind was down in this fucking vehicle.
Yeah.
That'd be cool. I like it. Yeah. There's some cool just stuff that hasn't been done before. I think those commander type asymmetrical things often don't work out very well on large scale things, but I think if you provided enough incentives, and the fact that the commander did get the opportunity, if they played well, to still sort of have a direct effect on the game like that. Yep. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like that could work. Cool.
I think the biggest problem that I've seen in the past when they've tried doing it is that person is still like fully on the ground and part of the actual squad. So you got to get someone who's actually willing to jump away from that for a bit. Whereas if that was the actual role, that it was basically you need a good commander who can see everything that's going on. And
I think having it actually as a separate thing, and look, then the issue comes giving them enough to do without having direct control. But yeah, I think with the boosts, with the fog of war-ish sort of thing, with the pings, and look, it'd be fucking frustrating if you get a bad group of people who just don't follow what you want to do. But again, I think you could probably structure it in a way where you gave enough incentive to both sides to listen and to command well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like it.
Cool. 3, 2, 1, click.
Horse.
Quantum.
Quantum horse. Okay. I do like the idea of quantum entanglement involving horses. So if one horse is spinning, the other one's spinning the opposite direction.
If one horse is running in one direction, another one's running in the exact opposite direction.
It always has to run in the exact opposite direction. Well, look, and a quantum is like that doesn't have to do with quantum physics. A quantum is just a unit, right? It's like what does it mean? Oh, well, I guess it is in physics, but it's the minimum amount of any physical entity involved in an interaction. So maybe this is about quantizing a horse. What's the minimum amount of horse you can have in a horse?
What's the minimum amount of horse that equals a horse?
Yeah, that still equals a horse. So maybe this is a weird horse crossbreeding genetic engineering like game that kind of uses something like the Spore engine. But there are certain limitations
you're breeding out the whole thing of horse, but you're also basically trying to say
there needs to be
this is still a horse.
Yeah, so it's just a very fast sort of genetic algorithm. You can select for different things, and slowly your like horse might go up onto its back legs and have just these little stumpy front legs, but it's still got a long face. So it's still a horse, or I don't know, it grows an extra set of legs, but its nose turns into a trunk, but it's still got hooves and a tail, so you could still call it a horse.
Or get this, it's Quantum Leap. Starring a horse.
Wait, so, okay. I like this. I want to explore it. Is this a horse's mind jumping into humans? And so literally these people in these different places, one of their loved ones suddenly just starts neighing at them and eating hay.
Or
and like stamping its feet to communicate.
Or is it just one particular thing in which, what's his name?
Sam
Beckett
jumps into
a horse.
Okay, so it's just an episode of Quantum Leap, and Sam's jumped into a horse. The fucking owl is there. Is it owl? It's owl, right? Yeah. I'm just going, you're a horse, Sam. Like, I don't know what to tell you. Ziggy fucked up. But we can't get you out unless you solve the thing that needs to be solved.
Oh, so, and this weekend is the Kentucky Derby.
And you're the favourite. So get training. And don't break a leg.
Or you'll be destroyed.
Yeah. That'd be a really good moment because like it's about to happen. He's trained up. He's ready to go. He realizes that he has to win the Kentucky Derby to get out of this fucking horse. And Al's just like, all right, it's your big day. Break a leg. And he's just like, and I was like, oh yeah, don't break a leg. They'll put you down. Sorry.
And then
my bad.
Then he jumps out right at the last second, just before the shotgun's
just
being
before
leveled.
The win.
And he jumps out.
Okay. Oh, before the shot. Oh, I thought you're saying before he gets killed after breaking his leg.
Yeah.
That's the bad ending, I guess. There's got to be a win ending.
And then he opens his eyes and he's a shark.
With horses for hands.
And horses for hands.
Took you a second.
And he's swimming around in a tank, and all of a sudden you hear a motorcycle going, and you realise that you're in that episode from Happy Days, and like Fonzie's about to jump the shark. Because literally, this is where Quantum Leap jumped the shark.
Right. The horse episode. Yep. It's going to go down in history as Quantum Leap jumped the shark. Yep. They should have cancelled it. And yeah. And then that ties into our first Evel Knievel game. So that's well done.
Okay, 3, 2, 1, click.
All right, we'll do one more.
Down.
Alarm. Perhaps this is sort of an arcadey stealth game.
Yep.
Along the lines of... Well, I don't know what it's along the lines of, but basically my thought is that you land on top of a building, and the camera is from above the whole time. And it's a stealth game where you have to like go down elevator shafts and, stairwells, and it's basically just a kind of shooter/stealth game.
Yep.
But the cameras are from above the whole time, and you're having to actually like this hugely secure building, and what you're trying to get is in the basement. Yep. But you have to start on the roof.
And in like the easy mode, you're on floor 25. In the hard mode, you're on floor 100.
125. Yeah, exactly. And so, there's going to be obviously a bit of challenge from the top-down view, but I like the idea of that perspective, like just constantly looking down into the distance, particularly if you're like going down an elevator shaft or a stairwell or whatever, you just like get that interesting perspective right down, a number of floors of the building. I think there's a lot of... Because this is going to make the stealth sort of interesting, right? Because you're mostly, instead of hiding from people who are next to you, you're often going to be hiding from people who are below you.
Yep.
And so there's a bit of like ducking down behind a stairwell or behind an elevator as an elevator door opens or whatever. And I think they still have shooting mechanics. Yep. But again, you're going to be like aiming over the edge and down and ducking back to take cover. Yeah. So yeah, I think that could add some interesting things.
I like the idea that you can actually like set off like some sort of alarmed area so that you can draw people to a different area that you don't want. You may put them on alert, but you're now away from this area as well. Like you've drawn, maybe 15 guards up here, and they're now the 2 or 3 levels below you are clear. But it also means that everyone's on a high alert. So it's the risk versus reward.
I wonder if to make it interesting, maybe you can flip between looking down from above or looking up from below. And so you could have people shooting you from above and it's like, oh shit, all right, I got to flip. And then you're like ducking but under tables and shit and like peering out to shoot upwards. I mean, that could get difficult when you're actually like on a floor. I'm thinking mostly in the sort of stairwell and elevator shaft levels, but maybe it's just some areas you can have that. I almost kind of like the idea of keeping this really quite simple and making it almost like a mobile game. But you know, a premium high quality 3D mobile game. But you know, maybe it's that your controls are literally like left and right, to sort of move behind things, move around the areas of whatever room or elevator shaft or stairwell that you're in. And then you've got like some controls to sort of peer over and shoot, or maybe like jump down to the next level. From wherever you are.
Yeah. So what is the reason why someone can't just get into the stairwell and just keep on running down?
I mean, people are going to be shooting at you and stuff. You're going to have enemies to take out. And well, yeah, but it's a secure building, so there's probably alarm systems and like they can detect you in the stairwell. I think you have to do certain things, whether there are like laser tripwires or hacking. You have to hack like a pad to get into the next doorway or something. Like, I don't think it's just a single stairwell that goes all the way down from top to bottom.
So maybe in one particular case, you can maybe get 2 or 3 floors down at a time, but you may have missed some things that would actually have helped.
I think you can get like, again, I'm thinking keeping this fairly arcadey. You can get like a rappel power up that lets you at an appropriate time, if you've sort of cleared enough people, jump over the edge of a stairwell and go down 3 levels, right? And you've made some progress, but yeah, maybe you've missed some points or some power-ups or some whatever on the levels in between. But you also, you get points for the further down you get, sort of thing. And then, you might have a grenade power, or you might have a stealth suit power up or whatever, which puts you back into stealth mode if you've set off an alarm. And so I'm thinking it's sort of just a relatively fast paced, you're kind of moving back and forth around the outside of these, rooms that you're looking down upon. And it could be that, I don't know, you need to go through some grates or whatever to get, like, it's not always stairwells and elevators, but I think that would be a large part of it. I think it's very much a bit of a Twitch stealthy shooter.
I think one of the power ups has to be a smoke pellet that you can just like throw down on the ground, and you just envelope
exactly
this small little square in smoke, and you can sort of
get away. Like, you can break line of sight and
smoke bomb, run.
Or in a Metal Gear Solid homage, you can get a cardboard box power up. Yeah.
But
I don't know.
When you're in the box, anytime they see a cardboard box, you have that alert sound of the exclamation point going above their head.
I like the idea that occasionally they'll just shoot the box. Like, I know their fucking trick, and they're going to get away with it. They just like blast the box with an automatic rifle. Yeah. No, I don't know. I feel like that could just be an interesting little, fairly small scoped, arcade shooter on a phone.
Yeah.
Be cool. All right. Well, should we end it there?
Yeah, why not?
I think that was came up with some good stuff. I am still disappointed we didn't do clear 10 for the whole episode, but anyway. I feel like that would be a good challenge. Maybe, listen, everyone out there, if you retweet the episode tweet 50 times, if we get 50 retweets, which will never happen, on the episode tweet, then the next episode after that happens, we will do one episode off a single prompt for an hour. That's our challenge. To you to get the retweets, and to us to not fail miserably at that task.
If you get 50 friends to download and listen to this episode and tweet at us saying that we love this, and we love this idea of you doing a whole single episode, and they continue listening, then yes, we'll do it.
Yeah. If we get enough, we'll do it. All right, anyway, that's the end of our episode. Thank you for joining us this week on Bitstorm. If you want to find the rest of our episodes, other stuff, our YouTube channel, our Facebook, our Twitter, it's all at podchaser.com/bitstorm. Head over there. check it out. Leave us a rating, leave us a review.
Share it to people.
Great. Share it. Tell people about it. Tell them to come and retweet our tweet and tell us that you want us to do that thing that we just said. We are also part of the 8-Bit Collective. This is a fantastic little network with a bunch of Australian gaming and otherwise podcasts. So you can check us out at 8bit.net/bitstorm and take a look at some of the other wonderful podcasts on that network as well.
We'd like to thank all the lovely people at the AGP and the Australasian Gaming Podcast Network. Just a fun collection of Aussie and New Zealand people who just love gaming podcasts and just want to collaborate and help each other. So search for hashtag AGPN on Twitter, look for @AGP Network, also on Twitter, or the Australasian Gaming Podcast Network on Facebook. Finally, we'd like to thank Kuridas for the song Mount Defiance off of the album Containment Failure for the use of the song. Thank you.
That's it. So, thank you again for joining us this week on Bitstorm. I'm Ben Slinger.
I'm Trevor Scott.
Count to 10 and clear. See, there's another one. I could have done a doctor game. We totally could have done it.